All right. Episode 22, Follow Podcast. Welcome, everybody. We are doing Gavin Newsom's first podcast, the one with Charlie Kirk. Everyone's talking about it. All the podcasts are talking about it. It was a really good podcast. With us, we have Manning coming back today. Welcome, Manning.
Welcome.
Hey guys.
He was the one that found this and sent it to us, so we're gonna go over this with him.
Maybe sent it before I heard anything else about it as well.
Yeah, Manning, he's always trendy. He's got to beat the trend by this much.
Yeah, he's.
How do you do it, Manning? How are you so trendy?
Dude, I get all my news from X. I saw that he was doing this podcast a week before he released the Charlie Kirk episode. He posted a video saying that he's going to start a podcast and he's going to have on people that challenge his opinion. And I'm like, he's going to be so strategic about this. Like, he's going to be like Jake Paul is with his boxing matches, right? Just like he's going to pick like old, washed up, easy opponents to go against. And that's really what I was expecting. And then when I saw Charlie Kirk on there, I was like, I'm going to watch that. And yeah, so that's
starting out with a bang.
Yeah, no kidding, man.
Like he challenged the heavyweight champion.
Like
and he did great.
I love the way Andrew Schultz put it. He said he's like autistically good at debating people.
Yeah. Charlie Kirk, this is his shit, right? If you don't know who he is, he's a right-wing internet influencer that goes to college campuses, debates people, and he's just good at it. He's like, what's Ben's name?
Shapiro,
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He's just a little younger, a little more, I would say, into with the younger generation than Shapiro is. Shapiro talks to like middle-aged Jews.
Yeah,
Charlie Kirk's more like the college audience.
Less far right than Shapiro. I mean, he's far right, but I feel like less extreme than Shapiro.
I don't think so. I think when you dig down, he's got all the same, because Shapiro's all Jewish and Kirk's all Christianity, and they have pretty much the same values, up and down the chain. But so first thought is, oh my gosh, is Gavin a good politician?
Yeah. That
dude is scary smooth.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he went in there, he went up against the right's best, and he wasn't, I was kind of expecting a showdown at first, and he played it brilliantly. He did not argue against him because he knows it. This is where I give him the credit before I tear him down. He knows the Democrats are playing a losing hand right now, and he knows he needs to shift. And it feels like he's making his run at the next presidential election for the Dems. And after this, I would say he has a big head start. But he was just great at, how many podcasts do you hear where someone's just listening? It almost reminded me of like the Modern Wisdom or the Diary of CEOs, where those two guys are just there. And some of the Joe Rogans, right? Half the Joe Rogans are like conversations, but some Joe Rogans just there to learn. And he was he just asked questions and actually listened. He was
probably kind of hesitant to talk about some of the topics.
But that takes some intelligence, right? You got to put your pride aside. You got to understand when you're losing the match, right? It's like in chess when you're getting beat bad and the only way you can win is letting them make a mistake, getting too aggressive.
Yeah, I had the same exact first impression. I was like, okay, Newsom has completely. He's a smart guy, intelligent. He sells out to these opinions because he obviously like can think through stuff, and it didn't seem like he had much of a facade on. And I was kind of really surprised about a lot of the takes he had. And I think from what I saw on the internet, he also got himself into some trouble.
How?
From the left.
Yeah. From the losers.
Yeah.
Right. That's what I'm trying to give him credit for. Is he's leaving those people behind.
Yeah,
If he's lucky, he'll shake off that far left and kind of gain more moderates.
I haven't followed enough, but like he hasn't always been like that, right? Like that's not like when I thought of Newsom, I didn't think of someone who's not extreme left, but
To me, he's the picture of California. So, like, when California goes crazy left and does all these lockdowns and does all the trans stuff and goes away from parents' rights, he's kind of the poster boy of it. And I don't think he tried to deny it.
Well, yeah, we can
I
get into
felt
some of the things he spoke about, like with the parents and the teachers, right? And the transgender stuff. He did have a take on those, but I think his take was less extreme than we all thought it would be.
I felt like it was just for the conversation. I would be surprised if like his
He was
acts,
defending that law he passed.
yeah,
The way he said it made it make more sense, but the way that we all interpreted it, it didn't seem like it was the intent,
no,
right?
it's definitely intended to be how we interpreted it.
But think how smooth he was. I mean, Charlie Kirk was landing jabs, like funny jabs, and he just rolled. He put that perfect smile out and just rolled with it. And, I was waiting for him to be offended, to, start debating, and he
Mm-hmm.
never fell for it. He stuck to that script well. And if he can do that, if he can reposition, like Manning said, to the more of the center and win the Dems in a more center position, then he's got a real shot against the next group of Republicans.
Yeah, I think these long form content it's really going to force left to go back to the center because if uh they have actual open discussions about some of their opinions and stuff like it's going to come the truth is going to surface, right? Like you can't have a long discussion and have a horrible take on something. You're going to just get destroyed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. And when your whole strategy to winning debates is just shutting down the conversation, it leads to, I like what Charlie Kirk said, like, you guys have lost your debate muscle. It's like it's atrophied. You haven't been to the gym. You haven't been doing your reps. You're going to lose that. And they don't have a meritocracy anymore, right? The best of them, the people that have the best ideas aren't at the top.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of the first things they got to change. But this is like him running to say, like, "Hey, I'm here to,
Mm-hmm.
have
I'm
a
here to
nuanced
change.
opinion." Now,
He
go ahead.
I was gonna say he kept on asking for Charlie Kirk's advice, like if he was in his position, and I think he's kind of taking that too. And I remember at the very end where Charlie Kirk was like, "If I were in your position, you wanted to win an election, this is what I would do." And like he was very interested to hear Charlie Kirk's view, and I would be surprised if he didn't use some of these things that
Oh yeah.
Charlie explains and actually implements them into his campaign, which is
Well, this is
scary.
step one, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right. Have the hit podcast. And I wouldn't be surprised if you see Gavin Newsom on some of the big podcasts because Theo Vaughn, Schultz, Rogan, they all maintain that they're center, and that if the left would come on, they'd have them.
Mm-hmm.
Well, so if Newsom is coming, I have bubbles behind me. Did one of you guys do that?
That was you, dude. If you do like a thumbs up, it'll like animate like a thumbs up or something.
Okay. Anyways, if he wants to go on Theo, I don't see Theo or Schultz or Rogan turning them down. And so I think he just has to time that appropriately, right? He's got to win the midterms in like what 3 years. So how does he time these big podcasts? Because you're not see he's the first left, and maybe this will open the floodgates. But since the election, you have not seen any of the left start to realize that they have a losing hand, and run to the long form podcast, start changing their positions. It hasn't happened. They're just waiting for Trump to step on his.
I think you're not gonna see those candidates who haven't already go on podcasts go. I think you're gonna see new candidates from the left, and they're gonna arise through the podcast. Other than like Newsom who's doing these things because it seems inevitable that you have to be good at podcasting now, or these just to be in the new internet world, right? The new form of media to
Yeah.
win an election moving
Could
forward.
you imagine Kamala Harris on an unfiltered podcast with Charlie Kirk? Like, you know
I
how
would,
bad
yeah.
that would go?
I would love it. I would watch every second of it. But like, what happened to the left to where they like? Because when I think of a politician, I think of someone that would be good on a long form podcast. Like
Mm-hmm.
this person has to, whether it's remember the note card or stick to the script, or they're just naturally they got it like that, right? Whatever it comes from, their job is to perform. And I feel like when I think politicians, they go up on debates and they have these arguments about the better way to govern. And it's just weird that we had Biden and then we had Kamala on that side, and they were the opposite. Like it's weird for our expectation to be they got to go find politicians that know how to talk to people.
That's called industry placement, Sterling. That's what those candidates were. Those were plants planted by the Democratic Party. They just kind
Yeah,
of dropped them in
I
there.
think Biden was.
Mm-hmm.
I think Kamala. I still maintain Kamala got it because Biden was like, "Fuck you guys." You're gonna kick me out. I'm gonna nominate the person that can't win, and then I'm gonna go down saying "I told you so."
Well, I don't think they realized that a minority primary candidate wouldn't be the best option for them.
Well, so she wasn't nominated, right? Because Biden won the nomination, and Biden endorsed her. And there was something I'm not going to pretend to be an expert, but there's something about all that fundraising he had to go back to the donors if it wasn't someone from his like I don't know his group or who he endorsed or like they would lose all that donor money.
Because I remember all the Democrats were mad that Shapiro didn't get it, right? And then they were saying it was because he was Jewish. That's what a lot of people thought behind the
It
scenes.
was a bad time to be a Democratic Jew.
Yeah. So there was a whole lot of nonsense going on when they were trying to select the primary. It was kind of great to see it because I didn't like any of them. So there was no getting out of that. And I was surprised how much Gavin kind of bashed Kamala Harris. I mean, dude, throwing shots at her, right? When she's down.
It felt like they all, after she lost, it's like,
well, really, did you
she
guys
didn't matter anymore.
video of her at the AI summit? Oh my gosh, that's like what kept running through my mind. It's so bad. It's probably
what is it?
It's her talking about how we need to like implement AI, and she keeps talking about a ham sandwich.
Pull it up, Conley. Pull it up. Hold on. We're gonna have to see this. But Manning, what was the Netflix politician one with Spacey? House of Cards.
Yes.
I think it's not that far from that, where they all hate each other, and the only time
Mhm.
they ever work together is when it's in their best interest.
Yeah. I mean, that's why that show is so popular, I think, because the American public we all related to it so much.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah, that was great. And that was the Democratic Party, too.
Oh, was Spacey a Dem?
Yeah, they
Like
were.
that?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, oh, wow.
Yeah. They need to make one about the Republican Party. It's just got to be a little bit different, right? It's still going to be a little corrupt and spicy, but it's got the roles need to be, different personalities.
Yeah, I'm surprised they haven't, to be honest. And maybe they're just so out of touch that they can't, because they would just make it a hit piece.
Yeah, they would.
That you got because to relate to the main character, you'd have to like him and kind of be worried about all his flaws.
It'd be like a dumb George Bush guy, some dumb redneck.
That would be good.
Yeah,
that would be really good. That's just propped up by. They could have the eccentric billionaire too now with Musk. Maybe they just do a Trump one. They just like cast somebody to be Trump and Elon. I mean, a lot of that stuff is, the heart goes out thing. Like a lot of it's weirder than a script right now. Conley, did you find it?
Dude,
it said the recording stopped. I just wanted to pause that and say that.
No, it's still going.
Okay, all right. Sorry.
Okay. I'm trying to find the short so we don't have to watch an 8-minute video of it. So hang in there.
Okay. Well, so I'll keep it rolling. Did you I really liked Charlie's idea that the left it trust institutions and the right has a low trust in institutions right now. It's one of the biggest ways to divide the left and the right. And I thought he nailed that one, and two, it's I think a lot of the reasons why I find myself on the right now is their anti-institution, all the institutions I don't like. So I thought he nailed that one. I hadn't heard anybody say that before.
Yeah, man, he's a sharp guy. And what makes it even better is that Gavin Newsom's son is like a big Charlie Kirk supporter. And I think that they said he was like waiting outside to meet him after the podcast in his MAGA hat.
I'm sure Gavin didn't let that picture go out.
Where'd you hear that at?
They were talking about how he was wearing a MAGA hat at the very beginning of the podcast.
Oh, that one flew over my head.
You know what? One of the things I will tell you is like it's really getting old. It feels like the trust in institutions have degraded over the last 5 years. Really, for me personally, right? And the huge catalyst was COVID. Like, oh, you guys all don't like me. You don't care about me. You just want what's best for you. And then you see all these things unfold, and you're like, okay, I don't trust them now. I don't trust them now. They probably killed Kennedy. And I got to be honest, it kind of sucks not being able to trust any of the institutions. Like, I don't want to have to figure all of this out myself. I don't want to figure out, what's healthy. There's a little autonomy I want, but there's a reason we farm out our thinking to institutions a lot of times. And quite frankly, I'm tired of them all sucking. Like, if you want my vote, I'm glad Doge is tearing them down, but someone's going to have to build them back up. And who's going to be the party that figures out how to make government groups effective? Because it would sure be nice to have an FDA I could trust.
Yeah.
I'm not an expert in pharmacology. All right,
Yeah.
hit me with the Kamala, Conley.
All right, I'll play it here, but
And
no,
then we
I
come back.
agree with you, Sterling. It's like there's certain topics you hear stuff on, and you're like, I want to go research that because it feels wrong, right? But
Right.
you only want to because you're being fed the wrong stuff, and you're like, hold on,
Right.
and there are parts where it feels good to like go out and like be like, see, it is this way, not that way, right? But the dream would be that the media platforms, the people representing us, all have that information correct to start with.
Yeah. Yep. And there wasn't all these like the dream of a government institution is you could do things that aren't motivated by profit. But
Yeah.
yet every time it
And-
comes back to that. Who's
and-
getting bribed? Who's getting the contract? Who's
And
making
they
the
don't even
money?
I don't think they have to hit at 100% rate, right? Just like if they were hitting at like 70%, but it feels like they're at like 30% of
Yeah.
the stuff.
And that's being gracious.
It's like you gotta step it up a little bit.
Yeah, if you told me that 30% of my tax dollars went to something useful, I'd challenge you. It's a dark time right now.
All right, give me a thumbs up if you guys can hear it. I can't hear it.
Many years
There you go.
relates to AI. I've also spent a lot of time working on space, international rules and norms. And so one of the things that we have to
So
Speaking in rhyme.
we haven't gotten to the Doritos. It was Doritos, not ham sandwich. But this video is so hard to find. And like this, if you can't see it, it's like the old days of what was it, Pirate Bay, where you go on to get like movie theater, and it was like a recording of a recording of a recording.
Oh.
It's like it's so hard to find. I don't know if you guys want to go to the Dorito
No,
part.
that's good. It's just, it makes me feel a little old because you hear all these podcasters talk because they are older and they talk about like the characters of the past. Like, remember when Cheney did this? I don't know shit about Cheney, but like now I know about Kamala, and in 20 years I'll still remember how stupid she was.
It's just like it's so clear that all she tries to do is just speak in a facade. It's like She couldn't have gone on Joe Rogan. It would have
man.
it would have instantly.
She'd have been talking about loving Doritos.
We called her stupid to her face, and she would have glitched.
She talked. I think she
She'd
was
have
You
like,
can't say that to me. I'm brown.
she would have literally just glitched.
So, like,
Oh man.
Conley, I don't know if you get this because I don't think your corporation is much of a corporation like Boeing and Northrop is. But Manning, I know you've seen this before where you get all hands, you get a new vice president in, and they come down and they talk to you, and they're like digital thread and agile, and they hit all the buzzwords, right? All the corporate buzzwords that you know are hot right now. And that's what Kamala reminds me of the brainless vice president.
Yeah.
It doesn't care about you, just coming down and acting like she does and acting and not saying anything really.
no.
That's very similar to how they got the jobs, right? They used those buzzwords in the interview process, and the recruiters were like,
Yeah. This dude's going to bring a digital thread technology to our engineering. What?
and then he just kept the same sales speech to when he was giving it to the whole plant. You know what I mean? Like, it's that easy. And that's what happened with Kamala to get VP. I mean, it's all similar, right?
Yeah.
But Conley, like, how much different are your leaders compared to these leaders that are putting on this facade? Are they more like just freeballing when they talk to you guys, or?
So one of the partners, which he's a co-founder, came in to our location last year. I think he does like every year, every other year, does an on-site. And they went out. So he came in for the day and like met with the customers and stuff, and then took the whole team out to dinner. And then we went out and played pool till about 1 a.m. But
I
it
want
was,
to be a part of a software company so bad.
it was a little different.
It's like, so Boeing's got, I can't imagine, 50,000 employees. Northrop's not far behind. Software companies, like the one you're on, and don't take this wrong way, it's just smaller, right? And I think that's a good thing because you
It's
can't
understandable.
hide these bozos. If you have a bozo at the top of a 50-person team, that team's leaving you, right? The hardest thing about these corporations is they're so big and everyone's tied to everybody. And when something goes wrong, it's so easy to point the finger at the next guy because it's all this tangled mess. And you just have these idiots that just live in there.
And one of my favorite sayings, I'll say it every episode, is show me the incentives and you'll see the outcome, right? They haven't been forced to innovate for so long. They've been tied to these government contracts and selling to the government on the cost-based contracts.
Yeah. Cost plus.
Yeah, cost plus. That's what it was. I was like, that's
Yeah.
wrong. Cost plus contracts, right? And they've been able to rot. Like if you allow companies to function and create or bring in great profits, they're going to do that. However easy it's allowed them, you know.
I think there's part of that where you do see them trying to innovate and change manufacturing systems. Like, you know, every program I've been on, there's a new way that they're trying to organize this manufacturing process for it to be more effective, right? So we can have better cost, you know, schedule.
And it matches
quality.
all those buzzwords they were selling the customer.
But
Like determinate assembly.
Right. But I think the tough part about these companies is that they do get so big, as Sterling mentioned, and when you're so big, you know, it's like you have too many high level leaders, you have too many departments, and that's when it gets messy. You know, I don't think it's that we've lost our hunger to innovate. I think it's that we've lost our ability to innovate.
And they're anti-risk. I mean, right now, I can't use AI anywhere in Northrop because there might be a lawsuit later. If I use someone's AI and it goes into our design, they may be able to sue for being part of that design.
Well, not only that, but they'll have Northrop doesn't want Microsoft owning all of Northrop's proprietary information for processes and stuff like that, right? Because they own rights to that.
Because no one else knows how to run an RCCA. It's
but
like,
am I right though?
Yeah, that's part of the calculus. I just think they're so paralyzed to do anything differently because it's a risk. They're so risk adverse that they'll never innovate. I bet you Androl's using AI whenever they want.
They make AI, so I'd hope so.
But not
Like
just
that's
as their AI, but to actually help them with everything.
Yeah. I know Palantir, they actually fine tune models from the big companies for their products, for their consumer facing not consumer, I guess. They sell corporate enterprise products, I guess.
I've always thought that if we could load all of our process specs in a notebook LM and ask it questions, like how much time we would save as a quality team trying to determine what's right and what's wrong.
Same for process specs.
That's what I'm
You know how much
saying.
time I took reading process specs?
That's what I was talking about. Process specs. Downloading every process spec that you manufacture to a notebook LM.
Right. What is the diameter of a, or what's the tolerance of a 3/4 inch fastener in steel?
Exactly what
An AI could tell you so fast.
It would say your spec sucks. It doesn't specify.
that idea of implementing AI like that is like I think what we've talked about a lot on this on this podcast. And I saw this video of Palantir and one of their products. It's called like AIP, and it's intelligence platform. And what they do is they go to these logistic companies or industrial companies, and they sell a commercial product that has integrated AI, fine-tuned models that uh, plugs into their like management software for like logistics or production line. And when I was watching this video, I was like, I almost got goosebumps because I was like, this is exactly what I've been like wanting to see implemented in my company, and then what you guys talk about would be so helpful. And
Mm-hmm.
doing it, and it's going to be around the corner. It's such a competitive disadvantage not to have these tools that either companies are going to be adopting them in the next couple of years or they're going to be gone.
Yep, I agree.
And even with
Or they'll be so far behind, they're just gonna rot until they, you know.
I use Cursor AI on the project I'm working on, and the last week at work I've been like converting code to like a newer version, a newer process, but it's not I can't like copy and paste it, but I have all these code files that I have to convert manually. And I'm like, I probably could have done 3 days of work in and out in an afternoon if I had Cursor AI. And it's just
Yeah.
because it's like busy work. It's like it's I could just review it. And if they could find a way to implement a fine-tuned model on coding that they're not worried about getting sued on, like it would be so advantageous for them to do. And someone's going to do it.
Yep. And someone's not gonna do it, and they're gonna lose.
It makes me wonder because a lot of I think all of the big companies like Northrop Grumman and Boeing have all agreed, like, yeah, we can't use AI because we don't want them having our proprietary information. And like what you said about the design.
Hold on, I'll
But
let you continue, but you said that earlier. These fine-tuned models, they allow you enterprise license that do not collect private data. And so it's a matter of trusting them, right, on that. But you trust people, these companies are trusting all the cloud providers and all these other providers to protect their information.
yeah,
So if that's the answer they give you, it's bullcrap.
maybe they don't even know that. Like maybe that the person that you're asking hasn't gone that far up the line to even see. But like where I was going with what I was leading up to was, I wonder what a massive company like Tesla does. I wonder if they allow their employees to use AI because they're about, relatively same size. They're a little bit smaller, but a company that big like Tesla, I wonder if they're allowing their employees to use AI.
I bet Grok AI has an answer for that. I would have to guess
I would imagine too.
influenced to use Grok AI, but let me see.
He's been very good about sharing his company's advantages with each other.
Mm-hmm.
Like every Tesla uses Starlink, right? So I would be very surprised if he doesn't have his team using Grok.
Well, then
what's going to happen? What Twitter's going to get access to it? I mean, that's his.
Yeah. Well, then ask it if
model too that is like really good at whatever workflow that they're working on.
Then ask it if SpaceX uses it. They probably don't have this information out on the internet. I'm just curious.
Dude, it has all X information on Grok.
Brock's like, yeah, you want to see it?
You want to see the blueprints, bro? Did
Hey,
you guys?
I wanted to talk about Newsom more because
That'd be good.
Yeah,
I
we're getting
didn't
off
want to
track.
let him go with all the compliments. The one thing I didn't like a lot was how, and he even said, like, I don't want it to appear like I'm throwing away my beliefs. And he had a smooth way around it, but that's exactly what he's doing. He was all woke for the last 10 years, and now he's just going to pivot, which to me tells me he doesn't believe a goddamn thing that he's preaching. And I hate those people. I can't stand those people. So, but, and hopefully that's not every politician, but man, it feels like it is.
Mm-hmm. I don't think JD's like that.
Yeah, maybe he has the advantage of right now he's on the side with the winning ideas. Like, I don't know.
But I see what you're saying. It's like, how long can he get away with this? I mean, are we just going to act like he wasn't against everything? He's like, are we just going to act like he's not switching up right now and it's normal because he's the only Democrat doing it?
Right.
Because we're going to get far down the line here where he's going to be running for president and he's probably going to have a good shot at it too.
I mean, it's almost as bad as Dad switching to be a Chiefs fan about 5 years ago. Oh, I thought I'd get more laughs than that. See, I'm not as funny as I think.
He always had the Kansas City Chiefs cup. That's his claim. It is.
But I think deep down, what it makes me mad at is all this woke stuff, all the lockdown shit. I don't think anyone at the top level making the decisions ever believed an ounce of that shit. They just believed it was the right thing to do politically, from a power standpoint, from a profit standpoint. And it pisses me off that people chose those motives over at the expense of my life. I mean, Manning, you remember when we both worked for Northrop and they were going to let go of every single person that wasn't vaccinated. They gave us like a 3-month warning. And at month 2, everyone was like, are you getting it? And like, I was looking for other jobs, and I mean, there's few things more impactful than losing your job.
Yeah.
And they were willing, or at least they were posturing as if they're going to do that. And that's not nothing. I can't wait to talk to other podcasts with you because the shit that they did to those kids with COVID that were in high school. Imagine your last 2 years of high school being the COVID years.
Yeah.
Not having a prom, not having a basketball season, virtual classes. That sounds like a nightmare.
Yeah. And not only, sorry.
Well, it's just like, it's one thing it makes it a little more tolerable if you fucking believe it. Like, I would rather you be stupid and believe it's the right move than to not buy into it, but just did it because that was what you thought would help you politically.
Yeah.
You're talking about historical moments in like politics. That reminded me of the Sanjay Gupta on Joe Rogan during COVID, when he went on the CNN doctor. He went on, and it was like peak COVID. He went on Joe Rogan after they did
the horse dewormer.
Horse dewormer.
Yeah.
And it was like, that was the point where I was like, okay, we're right to be worried about this. When he got on that long podcast,
he couldn't defend himself against the UFC guy.
Couldn't answer a question. That was like, that was a historical podcast.
Mm-hmm. I wonder if he got his ass chewed for doing that.
Well, yeah, he was a darling for so long, and then
his boss had to have been like, "Dude, look what you did!
Like, you just gave him all this ammo.
You just ruined all credibility."
He probably saw Kamala do it and was like, "I'll be next presidential candidate if I just go and look like a moron for an hour on stage, talk about Doritos."
Yeah, And I mean, not that decision not only affected the high schoolers too, but it affected college students. They couldn't go back to school. We had people getting AMPs virtually, dude, which is crazy. Think about that. And then you have my class that's graduating during a COVID economy with no jobs.
Yeah.
It's all around just freaking, it threw a wrench in things. And then we're going to forgive Gavin Newsom and act like none of this happened.
Yeah. And he didn't
probably,
fucking believe it the whole time. He was at they even joked about the French Laundry, which is the restaurant he went to in the middle of COVID, right? Yeah. He did not believe in lockdowns, but it didn't affect him, and it aligned with his political party, so he went with it. And
yeah, he laughed it off. He didn't even try to hide it or work or talk around it. He just said, "Yeah, I knew you were going to bring that up," like it was a mistake. He admitted to it, which was cool. That was cool.
A little bit. If there's repercussions at the end of it, like he should have to spend 2 years of his life inside and worry about losing his job. Then I'll feel better.
Charlie Kirk should have made him do like 25 push-ups.
Or
sit down and
get
give me
the
25.
Vaccine. I bet my left testicle he did not get that vaccine.
No way.
I'll bet anything in my life he did not get it.
Neither did his kids.
He gets to get the jab.
Yeah.
That's what we should line them all up and give them the 6 doses of jab.
On live television. It's
You want America to forgive you? Here you go.
And then you have to go hide in a room for 6 months.
That's right. That's right. And be called all sorts of names for being correct.
Yeah. Great. I love this. we needed to get this out. Yeah,
because it's so easy to forget that.
Yeah.
Time moves so fast. Everyone has such short memory. He gets on there and he is a very charismatic dude. Like that whole podcast, you're just warming up to him. He's sly. I mean, it's man.
I'm glad you're bringing this up because I forgot how pissed off I was at him when I lived in California. Like I hated this dude. Like I can't let him off the hook this easy.
It's crazy to think COVID was 5 years ago, but it's like, and it lasted 2 legit years. Like 2 years, they just dorked with everyone's life.
And he got away with it. No repercussions.
I got a question for you guys. Here's my big question. Because we're in the middle. We're in the middle, right? Right, Conley?
Always.
Right, Manning? Are you in the middle or are you a righty? And it's okay to be a righty.
I'd say I'm pretty middle ground compared to my pops.
What what would the Democrats have to do for you to vote for them in 4 years?
You want to go first, Conley, or do you want me to go?
Yeah, sure, I guess. I think the biggest thing would be we never got our apology for that whole
Dude, you know what? I didn't write that one down, but that should go to the top of the list. It absolutely should. That matters.
Like seriously, like I want them to admit that
you're wrong.
That either that they were acting that when the French Laundry thing, I want him to say, yeah, I didn't care about the lockdown. I wasn't worried about it. I didn't get the vaccine. Like, until I hear that, and those people are still the ones running, I don't think there's not much motivation for me to go left. Now, once we see new faces or people actually start admitting that and like, oh, I was wrong. This is what information I had, and this is what I was going off of. And if I go back, I want to do it again. Now that I would be like, okay, let's talk. What else do we have? You know? But till I get that apology or new faces come around, I have a bad taste in my mouth.
I'm glad you said that. That's at the top of my list. Like, you want me to ever forgive you? Let's start with an apology. Yeah, that's a good one. Manning?
So the Democrats are naturally supposed to be the scholars, the intelligent, the bright people with the Ivy League degrees, right? And that's how I see them. You know, they're those types of people.
That's what they are right now.
But they're traditionally more charitable, right? If they could, which is fine. Like, I'm cool with that. But if they could show that they're financially responsible and that they have a solid plan for healthcare and the current schooling education system all the way up to college, and they get the right people on board and they come up with a really damn good plan that makes sense, I think that would give them all the fuel that they need to get all the voters that they lost on this last election.
Yeah, they really got to go back to looking out for the little guy.
And they can't. They need to make Doge. They need to try to make that more bipartisan and be more accepting of that, because that's them. That's Obama shit, dude. Obama was talking about that on his first term.
I saw that video. Yeah,
So
Joe Biden.
they need to take credit for that, bro. You know what I mean? They need to claim that and stop like being so mad at Elon Musk and try to maybe build off of it going into their next term, in 2028.
I agree. I think if they took the Doge and the Maha away, if they just embraced it and made it bipartisan, yeah, the Republicans can say it was our idea, but if they don't have exclusive right to go to the American people and say we're doing better, we're spending your money better, and we're making your kids healthier.
So what
they're gonna
happened
get crushed
with?
Again.
You said that the right, that if the left did adopt it, yeah, we stole the right's idea. But the problem is they should have just from the start they'd be like, hey, that was us. You remember 10 years ago? That was us.
Yeah.
We were the non-GMOs. That was us. Like, why
It
they
really
just
was.
all of a sudden deny it? It's like COVID.
Well, they pissed it away. They're now a big institution, and institution's going to tell you, no, I know I know what's better for you. It's all these things that align with my buddy over there handing me millions for keeping them legal, right? The Kellogg's and the Pfizer's and all them.
But like you got two things you need to capitalize on if you're running for president: healthcare and education. You figure those two things out, which is probably impossible to do, but you're in a good boat, right?
Yeah. No, that's really good, man. Because I was trying to think of like what I'd have to do, and the biggest thing for me is eventually, at least this is my theory. Eventually, when AI takes over, we're going to need some sort of governmental system to pass along the wealth. And it's tough for me to admit that because I'm about as anti that as possible. But in a world where I can't compete against AI or robots, if that actually happens and no one can, then all the money goes to the people that own the AI and the robots and the energy or whatever. And that's going to be a small handful. And how that wealth is doled out.
Socialism.
Yeah, well, that's the scary thing, right, Manning? Is like, I don't want socialism. I don't want anything like socialism. I don't want communism. But how do I feed my kids in a world where there's a better engineer than me and his name is Sparky?
Yeah, socialism. That's the only answer.
So we're going to have to figure it out.
Yeah.
So what does that clear everything up for your answer on that, Sterling? What would you get you to go last?
I had a whole list, right? They got to go back to parental rights. That to me that's one of my biggest voting blocks. They have to be anti-corruption, right? They should be the party, because the Republicans haven't got on this yet. They've kind of danced around it, but they got to be like, if you're a politician, you can't insider trade. That would be so easy. Why is it? It's so easy. It's just sitting there. It's low-hanging fruit, and neither side has really picked up on.
Yeah. Have you heard the argument against that, though, Sterling?
It's a shit one.
So Dan Crenshaw, he claims
this guy.
You heard his argument about insider trading. He thinks that if you limit politicians from trading, there's not going to be enough incentives to become politicians because they don't make enough money to retire off of.
Right. So you can either be constitutionalist, which what they believed is you wanted to pay them enough to where they lived comfortably, but you didn't want to do it so much to where it was a job that people wanted to take and hold on to. Right? It should be a patriotic duty that you serve. Kind of like what Sachs is doing right now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's a great example. Like there's there's enough people with enough money that the jobs don't have to pay that much.
But
Right. And what
Yeah.
he's essentially saying, without like, he's trying to say, look over here, while admitting he is cheating the system. And we all know, like, why can't sports players gamble on games? Why does every league take such a hard stance against that? Because eventually you start throwing games. And that's what these politicians are fucking doing. They are throwing games and taking bribes to go against the people's will. And Crenshaw's one of them. Fuck that dude. Fuck that dude. He took millions to vote against your best interests.
Did you hear what he said about Tucker Carlson?
Soccer, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, that was off topic. I just
No,
thought that was
I
funny.
did. They got some beef, but
I didn't hear what he said.
He hot mic'd him.
He was on a hot mic talking about how he'd hit him if he was face
He
to face.
he said he'd shoot him. He said he'd kill him.
Shoot him, yeah. And I want to like Crenshaw because he's it's something cool about a soldier that turns around and becomes a senator. But no, fuck that dude.
He's just got to take the freaking gay porno eye patch off and rip his eye out and just be just no eye, just one eye, dude. That's what he's got to do.
That was a sus statement, man.
What do you mean? You know how badass that would be if you had a politician just walking around with one eyeball? That'd be sick. Veteran,
Yeah, I wasn't saying that part of it, but
Yeah, I don't know how one side hasn't capitalized on the insider trading yet. I feel like every American agrees on that.
yeah,
Every single one.
I think like the side that said like you can't pay him too much or else he'll stay there. Well, that's already out the window. Like they're all making a lot of money. So
No. You take away insider trading, they're not.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like that. Yeah, that's not an option to just like Well,
You're telling me you guys wouldn't take a 4-year term as senator making $400,000 a year? It's not lucrative enough for you. What? Huh? And they're still getting themselves pay raise.
yeah, it's
No,
nice.
fuck all these guys. No, bury him.
I bet they're all like, Nancy, chill. Like, stop making it just so obvious. You know what I mean? They're like, make it a little less obvious, Pelosi.
Can you not
maybe?
beat the stock market by 2x?
That's a great point. Like, come on, man.
It's like when you cheat on your test, you get like a 95 on purpose.
Yeah, I was like, she knows you didn't listen to a single word she said in class.
I think they got to join on the closed borders. Like, they got to at least give the appearance that they're not letting people in on purpose, right? And I think Obama did a good job on that one. They got to go anti-war. I think that's just so obvious. They got to get rid of woke, and I think they got to go back to being the Labor Party, the one aligned with the unions and fighting for the little guy. Like right now, they're fighting for the oppressed. Don't fight for the oppressed. Fight for the labor people. I think that's where the numbers are in democracies. And then I would love to see some infrastructure based, projects ran well by the government. I think there's room for those. Like the pride and joy of my life, the B-21, that's a government ran initiative, and it probably wouldn't happen without a government out there. Like maybe, but so I think there's room for the Democrats to, get on the Doge train and make government spending efficient, but then turn around and say, okay, we've made it efficient. After we cut the budget in half, there's still $2 trillion a year to spend on. Let's go make people's lives better. Let's go do some cool stuff that inspires people. I think there's room there for a winning party to kind of take that.
Yeah, they could have easily won this election. They just didn't play their cards right. I mean,
yeah, Trump is riding the wave well. He saw a movement, he put his face on it, which is kind of what he does, right? He kind of brands things, and he saw his opportunity, he took it. But
yeah, him almost getting assassinated was a big help.
You think that helped him in the vote, Conley, or do you think that helped that he just didn't die? Which one are you saying?
Both. Definitely both. I don't think he would have won if he didn't have that. Well, I think it would have been a lot closer if he didn't have that assassination attempt.
I didn't see the. I don't know. I didn't see the big swing after that. That I thought I
He
would
kind of
see.
changed it a little bit. I feel like he tamed down a little bit.
Wasn't that before they announced Kamala as primary?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's what happened is they got distracted. Trump swung big on Biden, and then Kamala got announced, and everybody forgot he got shot at.
Yeah.
And yeah,
Well, that's what J. Cal was saying the whole time. He's like, they're going to do a speed run primary, and they're going to take the flame back.
I mean, those are the people like behind the scenes putting these campaigns together, are the smart people like that. You know, they're drawing up plots while this is happening real
Right.
time.
Right.
It would be the coolest job ever, but you know,
The
don't mind
strategy.
me. Yeah, behind campaigning the president of the United States, you're marketing a human being to run a country. How am I going to
And like
convince people
strategizing how to kill the president and get away with it, you know?
with no repercussions? Again,
Right.
you know, like this guy had more red flags than freaking Michael Jackson. Yeah, and like, and like, you don't know his first name. Like, it's crazy. I don't know.
I don't. That's a good point. I don't know his name. Does anybody know his name?
Tom Wilkes Booth or something like that. I don't know.
Tom Wilkes Booth. Didn't he shoot Lincoln?
Yeah, I don't know.
Does anybody
man.
know his name?
No, that's wild.
It is wild because we'd know their name if his target was somebody else.
Mm.
That's wild. It's also why he didn't have social media. That's still to me. You can kind of explain the other stuff, but for what was he 21-year-old not to have social media? Give me a break.
He had 5 phones.
And then he was also, okay, I might just be stupid to think this was real when I saw it, but he was also he was like a person in the back of a BlackRock commercial.
Yes, he was in a BlackRock commercial. That's not argued.
That was a big Joe Rogan thing. Like, do we know that? Like, do we actually know that? I think
it's why there's a lot of weird coincidences, and that one you could like I could come around to that. Like if all the other evidence pointed in that direction, you will never convince me that this 18, 19, 21-year-old kid didn't have social media. It doesn't exist unless you're Amish.
It does look like it's confirmed that he was in it. He was in the back of it.
He was confirmed.
Yeah, I've seen the video. Like
it was at his high school.
Bro,
there's a video this week that came out about like him at the event, like kind of pacing. He was like way out of the crowd, just pacing back and forth. And you could see from a mile away this is a weird kid. So it's like, what was the Social Security doing? Or not Social Security, the Secret Service. What were they doing? Like, you know who I'm looking at. I'm looking at that weird dude pacing back and forth away from the crowd.
The one elevated surface in the middle of a farm field, maybe. I don't know. Yeah.
You guys got anything else?
No, I did. I think we mentioned it already, but it's very impressive and a really interesting play of Newsom, and it worked out well that he could bring on this master debater. And it's really didn't get it.
It was. I mean, I will end with saying he's talented. Fuck him.
Yeah.
I don't forgive him.
Do you think? How do you think it plays out? So, what we've said is the left has to start getting on these long form podcasts and having these discussions. If they start doing it, does it make them come center, or does it make them lose more because they stay left and stay having these poor arguments and points? What do you think? How do you think that plays out?
Think they stay on the left for one more midterm, they get clobbered. And then whoever wins the nomination will be the person that goes farthest center. And I think Newsom's probably the winning candidate right now. But I don't think it depends where the economy's at in 4 years. If the economy's healthy, I have a hard time thinking the left will pivot enough to win the next one. But there's also the wild cards. I don't know who's next on the right. I don't know that Vance is a shoe-in. I don't know where J or RFK Jr. is going, right? If RFK and Tulsi and Musk peace out on the Republican Party after Trump leaves, then am I really going to get up to vote for Vance? I like him. He seems smart. And he didn't lock me in a cage during COVID. But I'm not wasting my Sunday to go vote on him.
I think you are. I think you're voting for Vance. I really do. I mean, once you hear this guy, his litigation skills, this guy's a genius. I mean, I love Vance, dude.
Yeah, I think he's talented, and I think he will have a successful future. I'm not sure he's ready to win after Trump.
I think he will be.
Maybe Trump endorses him, and he has enough momentum to carry him forward. But
yeah, I mean, shout out to Gavin Newsom for this podcast. Genius idea. Guy's a total scumbag, but like, bravo, well done. And I can't wait to see season 5 of U.S. Politics. It's going to be great.
Yeah, no kidding. All right, cool. Thanks for coming on, Manning. Any last thoughts?
Yeah, thanks, guys. No, it was fun.
All right, right
as always.
Right at an hour. Perfect.